Well, good morning, and thanks for logging on here to southernindianaweather.com for our morning forecast update. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. Today's video update is sponsored by Metal Magic in Washington. Folks, give Chad a call at 698-8555 for all of your paintless dent repair needs. They do a fantastic job, folks. They're PDR Nation certified. Be sure to tell them that Southern Indiana Weather sent you. All right, we have more thunderstorms in the forecast today. Now, last night we had some sort of scattered storms around the area, but just nothing a whole heck of a lot in the area. And it's going to be sort of that same sort of the way. Here we go into the morning hours of Friday, and as we go throughout the day, what we can expect according to the high resolution dam is just a few scattered showers to pop up again. Really not expecting a tremendous amount of things, and those should pretty much wane as we go into the overnight hours and become very much into an isolated fashion. Some of the other future radars that we could look at are showing just a little. One is showing a bit more of an aggressive picture. One is showing even weaker picture of this. So there are mixed signals. I've went with a 30% chance of precipitation today. It's not a strong precipitation chance, and it's certainly not going to be a washout all day. But we do stand the chance of some scattered thunderstorms again during the afternoon hours. Now, according to the high-res NAM, we got some rain that could come through pretty early in the day on Saturday. We'll monitor that to see whether that ends up happening or not. Then things start to dry out. We'll heat up on Saturday, and then by Saturday night, we've got more to come in. You can see a cold front to our north, line of storms taking shape up there. And actually, some of the models are indicating that it could still be very wet during the overnight hours on Saturday night. I think that's going to be our next best chance for rain as far as a decent amount of rain. If we take a look at what the Canadian model says, the Canadian model has been doing a pretty good job lately of handling our precipitation, so I just want to quickly run through this. By the time we get into the afternoon hours there, again, and this is, by the way, what you're seeing in the colors is accumulated precipitation. So again, we have the chance of some thunder showers popping up again during the day on Friday. Not a tremendous chance, but the chance is there. By Saturday afternoon, not a whole lot of action going on in the area, according to the Canadian model at least. But as we get into the overnight hours, you can see a literal deluge overtakes us in our area. And really, Sunday starts to dry out just a little bit, but into these Sunday night hours, we get more of that in the effect as well. So certainly some timing issues that we've got to work out. There's some differences between the GFS, the Euro, and the Canadian on the timing of everything, but this gives you the idea of it's going to come in waves, and we'll have to just monitor when those wave comes. But folks, if you've got outdoor plans for this weekend, just keep attuned to the weather, because there are going to be times whenever it's going to be really wet out there. In fact, as we go into Labor Day, here's what the Canadian thinks for Monday afternoon, and you can see just that deluge of rain on Monday. So Monday is looking like a soaker at this point, and really, by the time you get into Tuesday as well, here's Tuesday afternoon and into Tuesday evening, and you can see yet another soaker. And really, Monday and Tuesday really look like very wet days to us at this point. So, and of course, we're running above normal on our precipitation right now. There's certainly no drought across our area really to worry about with all the precipitation that we have had lately. The good thing is this will cool our temperatures down. It looks like tomorrow will be about the last 90-degree day that we're going to see for a while. I do think we're going to get to the upper 80s a few times in the future, but I do see a pattern more evening out. And really, with all this rain that we're expecting on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we're going to look at more of a mostly cloudy sky for those days, even in between the breaks. There's going to be hard to find a tremendous amount of blue sky. That should hold our temperature down as well. I'm thinking low to mid 80s at this point. And on the day and if it does give this absolute deluge of rain, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't even make it out of the 70s at some point. Right now, it looks like we're going to have just enough of a break and the heat in the day to warm us up to the low 80s before the rain comes on Monday and Tuesday. But if the rain comes earlier in the day than expected, then certainly 70s will be the rule. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. And then as we move into the extended outlook beyond that, things do start to dry out. High pressure starts to work its way in. We'll have some very pretty days in that extended period, and we get more of a northwest flow, and that will give some very pleasant temperatures. Let's talk about rain totals again. How much can we expect? Here's again what the Canadian model says, and really across the area, it's given us a pretty decent total. You can see these deeper orange shades that you've got over southwest Indiana correlate really with anywhere from 2 to maybe 3, even up to 4 inches at times. And really, there is very few, if any, spots that are, if not greater than an inch. And so I think it's pretty easy to say, basically area wide, we are looking at least 1 to 3 inches area wide, and that of course doesn't show up very well whenever I put it in the red like that. But again, 1 to 3 inches area wide on rain is what I think that we're going to expect over the next few days. So certainly a deluge, and certainly beneficial to the soil moisture, and that will again hold our temperatures down. Here's what the Weather Prediction Center, the National Weather Service, thinks, and just again to show you again that idea of what they think a good 1 to even 2 or 3 inches possible across our area. All right, now let's talk about temperatures over the next few days, just really quickly as well. Right now we are we've had this ridge of high pressure down that's sort of dominated our pattern, and you can pretty much see it down here. And remember, winds rotate clockwise around there. We've had that southerly flow into the mid-atmospheres, and it's just been brutal with the 90s. But you can see there's going to be a change in the pattern, and watch how we go over this. That ridge eventually breaks down, and we go into a more, the ridge, it sort of holds on early on next week, but it's not going to be quite as powerful as what it was. But as we get out in here into later into the outlook, what I want you to notice is we go into more of a zonal pattern. And by zonal, what I mean is we're flowing in a fashion like this, where it's just going west to east. So there is no ups or downs in the jet stream. It just sort of is what it is. Now, whenever you get a zonal flow like that, essentially what you get is basically a normal, an average high temperature. That's going to be good for us because our high temperatures, average high temperatures, are going down with time. So we put up the raw data from the GFS ensembles just to show you. And again, we're looking with temperatures in the 90s again tomorrow. I'm thinking Saturday we get up a little bit more than 84. This is giving a bit more of a rain chance than I see in some of the other models. And I think it's going to be probably more into the upper 80s on Saturday. But by the time Sunday comes, I agree with the low 80s with the rain that we're expecting. I'm thinking a little bit lower temperatures than even this. But what you can see is we go back up again into the mid to upper 80s for a few days, again, as that ridge tries to build in, but eventually it is suppressed. And when it is suppressed and goes zonal, take a look at our temperatures. By the time we get here to September the 9th, keep in mind our average high temperature pretty much right now, just to give you an idea, our average high temperature right now is about 84 degrees. By the time we get to the beginning of September, though, that temperature is going to start to drop rapidly, and we're going to get down to an average high temperature very close to 80 across the area. So with a zonal flow, yeah, you're going to get temperatures in a more normal fashion where you're going to see some upper 70s again. That's going to bring some relief to the area, and considering all the 90s that we've had, and it's just going to be downright pleasant. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for it. Relief is on the way, folks. It is coming. Hang in there. All right, folks, here's my latest forecast. You can always find this by going to southernindianaweather.com, clicking on the forecast button up here on top. As we go into Friday, partly cloudy again. I've given it a 30% chance of some afternoon thunderstorms today. High temperature around 90 degrees. On Saturday, again, it's just a shade cooler. I don't think we get into the 90s. It looks like mid to upper 80s across the area. But then on Sunday, I've given it a 40% chance, by the way, of precipitation. There may be a wave that runs through early on Saturday morning. Again, that's up in the air as to whether that happens or not. But I do believe Saturday night is going to be just pretty much a cloudy night with a good deluge of rain. Same way for Sunday. By the way, I've given these 50% chances of precipitation for Sunday. Whenever I get deep into my extended outlook, I don't like to give a 70-80% chance of rain because I'm expressing I'm expressing a confidence in my forecast whenever I give you a percent of it. And as time goes on, as the models consistently continue to show that, expect those forecast precipitations to rise. But I do think at this point, the way it looks, we're going to have a pretty decent amount of rain pretty much all day long, and it's going to come in waves. That'll hold our temperatures down. By the time Monday and Tuesday comes, the way the modeling is showing it is the morning hours look fine, but the afternoon hours look very wet. So that should allow us to rise up to about the mid 80s before we start to cool down into the 70s with that rain. And then by the time you get to Wednesday, you start to lessen your chance of precipitation. Rather than a deluge, it starts to go away, and I think we'll only make it up to the mid 80s. Beyond that, again, it looks like we could be high temperatures in the very low 80s from there on out for a good while. So the cool down is certainly coming. All right, that's it for this morning update, folks. Hope you have had a great day. One thing I do want to quickly show you, I forgot real quick here. I want to talk just briefly about the winter outlooks that have come. I've gotten some questions about these. Remember last year the Farmer's Almanac put out this biting cold and snowy outlook, and it turned out very accurate for us. Now, this is not the old Farmer's Almanac. I don't have the old Farmer's Almanac pulled up for you. The old Farmer's Almanac just really sucked on its winter outlook for us last year. It did not get it at all. It said we were going to be warm and dry, basically, and we were neither of those. We were cold and snowy. I think not the old Farmer's Almanac, but the actual Farmer's Almanac did a pretty good job of it. Well, the Farmer's Almanac has released their one already for this winter, and they're saying stinging cold and normal snowfall. So again, you're going to see this out there in the forecast. As far as my official thoughts, I haven't released an official winter forecast. I will do that, folks, but probably not until late October, early November, because I would rather be accurate than be first. At this point, preliminarily, I do think that we're headed for another cold winter as far as snowfall, whether it's going to be normal or above normal. That much I'm not really sold on confidence-wise yet, but I do think temperatures, based on the pattern being the same that we are in, unless something changes it, and it could happen over the next couple of months, but right now it looks to me like another cold winter, unfortunately. And again, that's very preliminary, and I stress that this could change, so take these with a degree of salt. Seasonal forecasting is very difficult, but I put it out there for those that want to know. And again, back in late October, later on in probably late October, early November, I will have a video update out that will detail my thoughts on the winter outlook, so stay tuned for that. All right, this time it's for real, folks. Thanks for logging on to SouthernIndianaWeather.com for our morning forecast update. Have a great day, folks. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.